Do you need this on maybe potentially? Hello. I don't know if anyone is actually here. We also made the mistake of going live uh, with YouTube and not with StreamYard. So that was annoying. But hello, welcome. How everyone is. Oh, I was literally trying to click on things after I just said we're not using StreamYard. And so it doesn't, I can't, there's nothing for me to click. But hello. I had nothing planned for this stream, even though I definitely had all morning to think of things to do for the stream. But I figured I would let y'all decide what you want to have happen here. If you want some reading sprints, we can do some reading sprints. If you don't want reading sprints, we can just chat for an hour, whatever the people want. I haven't really been doing any reading, which is kind of not the best. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I probably should do sprints because I haven't been reading. I started what was it? I started To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, and I liked it. I got to 22%, but I'm like, this book is 800 pages. What are we doing for 800 pages? Like, are we doing anything for 800 pages? Because it kind of felt like things were moving along pretty quickly, and I was yeah, it's 880, so it's almost 900 pages, which I'm still kind of bitter about, because the fact that I read Queen of Air and Darkness in January shot myself in the foot, because I keep picking up these like really long books, and I'm like, oh yes, this is long, but it's not even the longest book I read this year, so I hate that for me. But it's 800 pages, and I'm like, we're already here, and I don't really know if I need I don't know if I need 600 more pages, because at 22%, that has to be like 200 pages. We should watch a movie next time. I'll have to think. I'll put up a poll of like things to watch on Netflix, and we'll have a Netflix party. I'll have to look into that. I think there's some new stuff on Netflix that I wanted to watch, but I didn't get around to. I don't know why I continue to pay for Netflix, honestly, because I don't really use it. But it'll come in handy. So I started that, and then I read like the first like 3 pages. I think I got to like 2% in Cemetery Boys, and I really want to DNF it. I don't like it. So that's how my reading month has started. Not the best time for me. I wish it was going better, and I needed to go better because so I filmed. It was like everybody's favorite, and I already know. Okay, so yesterday I filmed my September TBR, and we all know that I don't really do well with the TBR, but because I have to have everything pre-filmed, like I can't, like there's just no way I'm going to be putting out timely Friday reads in the like near future. So I was doing a TBR of like the things that I kind of want to get to this month. And Cemetery Boys was definitely on the list because I'm trying to get my NetGalley score up. I'm like, that'll help. Like I'll read it, I'll get it up, and I just don't like it. And I know that it's like we haven't even gotten to any kind of plot yet because it's like literally 3 pages in. But I'm just like, I don't like the writing. I don't like how Aidan Thomas wrote this book. I don't care. Like in like the first 3 pages, like it's not bad, like it's not like objectively like horrendous. I'm just like, I feel like I know more about these ghosts than I do about my main character, and I'm like, I don't care about these random ass ghosts in this cemetery at all. So like I really don't understand why everyone is like, you need to go buy this book, because I'm like, for what? Again, it was only 3 pages, so like there's no I don't know, also know why I thought this was going to be good for me, because it definitely is like a live human in a relationship with a ghost, and like that's already like a non-starter for me. So I don't know why I thought that was going to work, but I haven't even gotten to that part, and I'm already I'm already over it. I just don't care. Like, I think it's nice that all of these ghosts have like personalities, but I was also very confused because Aiden Thomas makes it very clear that like you can't remain a ghost for forever, apparently. Like, apparently if you're a ghost too long, you like get corrupted and like bad things can happen. But then 3 seconds later he talks about how this ghost has been hanging around for a while, and I'm like, but you just said if they're a ghost for too long, like. And then like there's these like little girl ghosts, like all of the ghosts that he described, um they didn't feel like they had recently become ghosts. Like, these were ghosts that had been there for a hot second, but apparently not long enough to be corrupted. But I'm just like, they've been here for a minute. Like, I don't understand. I don't know. I don't care. And so I don't know. I kind of want to read it, but I'm also very. I might just delete that from my Goodreads and act like I was never going to read that, and it'll just stay on my Kindle because I don't think I don't like it. But it did make an appearance in my my TBR that I filmed yesterday. How are you enjoying the Poppy War? I saw some discussions going on Twitter about someone who had like defamed the Poppy War, and I didn't really look into it because I didn't. I also didn't like the Poppy War, and so I just kind of kept to myself. And I don't know what this person said other than it was boring. And the part that I read was definitely boring. It definitely didn't have any of the elements that like people always talk about when they talk about the Poppy War. I know people were talking about the Poppy War for a second because someone said that it was boring and basic, and everyone was like, "How dare you call this book boring and basic?" And you'll read all these white people. And I'm like, I know. And then the three body problem was separate. I did tweet about the three body problem. I did tweet that out, but I didn't say anything about the Poppy War because when I read it, I was bored. Like, the first half of the book where they're at the academy is definitely boring. Like, is it Asian fantasy during that half of the book? Undoubtedly. I'm sure, fine. It's like stock stuff. And so I only can imagine that like after the academy is where all of like the brute, like I guess like stuff at the academy was kind of what was it? The stuff at the academy I think there was like an underground fight club situation going on. I think that's what Atlan was like involved in. So like that's kind of like violent. But I think all of like the really triggering material, like the real like people tell you to like beware, comes after the academy. And I never got that far. So like maybe that part isn't boring, but half of the book is definitely poorly paced and is definitely not. I think you have to like want to get through it to get to the ending part, and maybe getting to the ending part is worth it. But I can't say all that in 280 characters, so I just left it to myself because I just not interested in the conversation. I remember seeing a copy of Pachinko at my local Goodwill, and I thought that it was like a super old book, but at the time I think it had like just come out, and I was kind of, I think it's a newer release. Let me see here. 2017. Yeah, that's, I don't know why I thought it was older than 2017, but I definitely did. And so I just didn't pick it up. And then I was at Barnes and Noble, and I was like, oh, it's still at Barnes and Noble? Maybe I should have picked it up. Would have been worth the price, but I didn't. I did not pick it up. And I did regret not picking it up. But we all have choices that we have to live with. And I guess that one's mine. I don't know if I would like Bashinko. I think I was only gonna buy it because 2019 I was doing the what is it? The year of the Asian reading challenge. Like you're supposed to like read different Asian authors, which is why I picked up Mary H. Choi last year. So I do think that it was a worthy challenge. I was going to participate in 2020 as well, but I haven't. I don't think I've marked any of those Asian authors on my Yark Goodreads shelf. So maybe I'm doing better than I think, but I don't know. You liked it, you don't even read historical fiction. Let me go read this description on Goodreads again. I closed all of my tabs trying to figure out why YouTube did not want me to go live, so I have to reopen Goodreads. I don't mind a good historical. In the early 1900s, okay, a fisherman, a wealthy stranger. Interesting. Maybe I will read this. I have to go to Target later, and it's a slice of life book about 3 generations, slice of life and intergenerational. I have to go to Target in a little bit after I'm done here. So whenever this ends, I'm going to try and make my way there to pick up my order. So if they have this in the book section, maybe I'll pick it up. It'll be a sign. That's how I'll do it. Probably not the most financially responsible way to purchase books, but I didn't buy anything yesterday. When I went to on Fridays, I only served lunch on Fridays, so I was off in the evening time, and so I stopped at my local indie that's on my way home, and I was fully prepared to purchase something. But they just didn't have anything. So I didn't buy any books yesterday. And I mean, most of my books from like from that specific store, those books I think are really reasonably priced. Because I only get the used books that like they do sell new releases, and I do look at them sometimes. I'm like, I could get the new release here, but then I just don't. And so like they aren't that expensive. The only reason I spent so much was because I went to Books A Million, and that was like a full price, and that hurt. That definitely hurt. But I haven't really spent that much. I think I'm not gonna add it up. Like I'm not gonna do that, but I don't feel like I spent that much. Like it was kind of a big haul, but I think I spent more in my June haul because all of those. My wish list is like it's linked in the descriptions of my videos. But like when I go to the dusty bookshelf, like I don't even buy things that are on my wish list. Like I actually might need to take some things off the wish list because I might have purchased them. Let me double check that. But yeah, I know. Like I don't like I just quietly put it in there because I really don't like unannounced packages showing up at my house. But I think actually what my my new problem, aside from unannounced packages showing up here, is that all of my USPS deliveries, they go to the front office at the apartment complex, and they close at like 6, and I get off work at 7. If I'm lucky, I'll get off at 6, but it's still gonna take me like 20 minutes to actually get home. And so there's like, I guess I could go on Saturday, but like Friday is like literally the only day I can check my mail and get packages, and I'm just kind of like, I don't like this system. I don't just like I truly don't understand it. I don't like it. It bothers me a little. But I was seeing if I needed to edit this list. So where your lists? Yeah, it's like the new job is fine. It's literally like it's low key like the best dishwashing job I've ever had because it's not that intense and it's a full-time situation. So like I don't hate it. I definitely have had worse jobs in my life. And so I'm kind of here for it. Not gonna lie. I'm not mad. I don't even know what these are. So yeah, I'm not mad at the new job. I like it. Like again, like really the only bad thing is that I guess there's like two bad things. It's like it starts later than usual. That's why I get off at like 7. I usually get off at like 6, but like we'll put 7. So like anything that you would do like during the day, like I don't like there's no time to do that, and everyone is trying to call me, and I'm like, could you not call me? Like unscheduled phone calls really are the bane of my existence, and I don't understand why anybody thinks that they are wanted, because they are most certainly are not. And so I think that's like the only downside, is that I'm like, you didn't schedule this call, so why are you trying to call me in the middle of the day? But outside of that, life is, you don't have anything to complain about. And I don't have anything to take off of this list, so that's good. I mean, maybe it's not good, because that means I'm not buying the book that I actually wanted, but who am I to deny something that I just happened to see at the store? I think that's the fun of going to the used bookstore, is that you'll see something that you didn't think you wanted. And then, I mean, I'm going to say that it's good. I mean, this is a hobby. Some people really try to make this like a business venture, and I support them in that, but I do. I mean, I've mentioned it a couple of times, and that's fine with me. That's fine. I don't, like, again, this is a hobby. I'm happy to release things early. I'm excited to, actually, let me make a note of that before I forget, to compile a list of Netflix things to watch for the next situation. But it's fine. That's fine with me. Okay, I actually do want to ask. So because I have been pre-filming a lot, what is it? So I still have like one video that's uploaded, edited, ready to go. I think that one still needs a thumbnail. That part is still lacking, but I filmed 3 videos last night, and I filmed a 4th video this morning, and I just don't know when to like put them up on Patreon for early access. I guess I need to edit one of those tonight. I think I'm going to do my wrap up. Next week we'll have the August wrap up. Maybe we'll do that Anna Kate video because it's just sitting there for Wednesday. I don't know. 24 hours. See, I was thinking about 24 hours before, but I'm like, realistically, is that enough time? Like, is that? I don't know. Like, I don't. But if you guys are only expecting 24 hours, I can live with that. But I'm trying to have them edited and uploaded so I don't have to think them out. As the majority vote, yes. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to fight it. If you guys... Because I was definitely stressing before, and I was like, oh, there's only... like, it didn't feel like a lot of time, but if people really don't mind only 24 hours, that's noted. I'm going to continue to try to... I need to actually make sure that that's still winning. I mean, I'm going to continue to do me, but I'm also like, you guys gave me $3, so like, I feel you should you should get your $3 worth. So that's good to know, that people are only expecting that, which is nice. It's nice. But hopefully moving forward, we will continue on with the 3 videos a week. I missed uploading that frequently. I'm not sure if it'll be forever, but I do have a nice little backlog of reviews that I wanted to get out and I wanted to talk about. So those are coming. maybe I'll switch the Anna K review with the a burning discussion that I filmed last night. I think that's what I'll do. Because I can upload the Anna K video really anytime, because it's not super in depth. I don't know. So I might do like Anna K like the week after, because I don't think anyone is really eagerly anticipating an Anna K video. They should be though, because that was a very good book. It was. Okay, well, the A Little Life video is nothing like the Anna K. Like, I think the Anna K one is literally like 5 minutes. Let's look, because I am seated at the computer. I can tell you how long it is. It is that's vanishing half. It is 6 minutes and 45 seconds. And I don't really like this thumbnail, but I'm not gonna remake it. But A Little Life, like that video, I still hate that book. And I really thought I could reread it this year. Like, I really sat down in January and was like, I'm gonna reread A Little Life. And I hate that book so much. Like, I really don't think anyone, I don't get it. And I think what really boggles my mind is that A Little Life is kind of like one of those books that when I read it, not liking it was kind of the popular opinion. Like, sure, there was like a group, obviously it was, nominated for all of these awards and things. It didn't win any of them. I think the year that A Little Life was up for the Man Booker Prize, it lost to A Brief History of Seven Killings by Marlon James. And so I was like, I'm going to read A Brief History of Seven Killings. And the book was so goddamn boring. So why I thought I would like Black Leopard and Red Wolf is beyond me, but I digress. So in that year, like, sure, like, it was getting praise, and like there was definitely like a group of people that liked it. It was kind of like the same circles that would like The Secret History or even like the Raven Boys. Like, it was like that kind of a community, I feel. And I was just looking at them like, y'all are a bunch of weirdos. But in 2020, I've seen many a person pick it up and talk about it and how they liked it. And I'm just like, why though? Like, what are we doing? I mean, I feel like a Little Life is the same, and it really definitely wanted me to use a spoon on my eyes. I think I hated The Secret History as much as I did because I misplaced my physical copy. And so I had to listen to the audio, and it was narrated by Donna Tartt, and it just made everything that I hated about that book even worse. The narrator for Little Life is fine, because I also listened to that on audio, and that is it's like 34 hours or something. The narrator there was fine, but the book is just bad. Like, it's not good. It's just not. And I think that anyone who looks at it like an examination of grief or like the grieving process or like suffering, I feel like that's a reach. I don't think that that's at all what A Little Life is doing, because that's definitely not how the book is marketed. That's definitely not how the book is sold. That's definitely not how it was pushed. So I understand like sometimes like what a book actually is and how it's pushed are very different, but A Little Life is just a garbage book. Like, literally there's nothing redeeming about it. And I feel like anytime I see someone, like, I tried to watch it was like Kat from Paperback Dreams did like a reading vlog, and so I was like, maybe I'll enjoy your reading vlog even though I don't really watch your content. And I just had to stop because I'm like, have I been guilty of giving books that made me cry like a really good rating? Yes, like I did that. I mean, to be fair, the only book that's ever made me cry was They Both Die at the End. And if I were to like look back on it and like maybe reread it, I don't think I would enjoy it as much. But I think if you're giving A Little Life 5 stars because it made you cry, like, Okay, I guess you do you. It's your rating system. You do whatever you want to do. But I don't think A Little Life is a good book. And I am annoyed when people buy it. Not gonna lie. Now, did I buy it? Yes, I have definitely purchased a copy, and I will just take solace in the fact that I got it at a Goodwill, and I no longer own it. Aaron has it. I liked Majesty a really lot. It made me very happy. I talked about it briefly in my August wrap up, because I definitely had issues with Majesty, and it definitely does things that I think I ordinarily would not appreciate or like. But I do think that it continues the story in a way that makes sense and is believable. And even the things that I didn't like were mostly believable on the part of the characters doing those things. And so I personally really enjoyed Majesty, and I wasn't disappointed. I was only disappointed in that, like, it's a duology. And while I'm happy, because there definitely is not enough here to stretch to like make it a trilogy, like that would have been annoying. But I am gonna miss the characters because I did like them a lot, and I'm sad, but I am looking forward to buying a copy. I don't know when I'm gonna buy that copy because I have already read it, so like there's no rush. But I did like Majesty, and I do recommend it to people. And I would say that I'm looking forward to seeing reviews, like other people's thoughts, but uh, I know that there was a lot of people that didn't really like American Royals, so I don't know if I want to see their thoughts on the sequel. I never continued with the selection. I read the first book and I was like, this is really cute. And I think I read it, I want to say The Elite hadn't come out yet. And so I just like read the selection. I was like, oh, this is fun. And I never continued on with the series or the spinoff. And I don't really plan on going back to visit them because they were really only good in like the time that I read it. And I don't think I would like them now. And I haven't heard really good things about The Betrothed, so I'm not even going to pick up that one. Which is that I want to say there is another one. I think it's called Muse by Brittany Cavallaro, which is like the next sort of imagined royalty book that I'm looking forward to. I'm only not looking forward to that one as much because I want to say it's like set in the 1800s, and so I'm like, would have liked it more if it was contemporary, but I understand. I understand. I am also very nervous because while I liked Hello Girls, which was co-authored by Brittany Cavallaro, I did not like the book she wrote by herself. Uh, those little Sherlock Holmes retellings, like that was a terrible book. I don't understand how anybody likes that one, if I'm being honest. Jamie Watson, what was it? A Study in Charlotte. That's the first one. Jamie Watson in that book was honestly terrible, and I hated it, and I didn't like it, and I didn't like Charlotte. Like I found that like there's to me because A Study in Charlotte wasn't meant to be like a reimagining. It was supposed to be sort of like a continuation situation wherein Sherlock Holmes was like a real human and Charlotte was his descendant, but they were like identical. Like they were the same person. And it didn't make sense to me because even if I've never read the original Holmes books because I tried and they were boring as fuck. But when you watch like the adaptations, Sherlock and Mycroft are not the same person, even though they are both Holmeses. Even in the most recent like little Netflix movie with Millie Bobby Brown, Enola, Sherlock, and Mycroft are all you can see are different people. But in the Study in Charlotte, her great relative Sherlock was a drug addict, and Charlotte was a drug addict. Sherlock did this thing, and Charlotte did it the exact same way. Like they weren't like oh, you're my uncle or whatever, you're my grandfather, you're my cousin, and so we're like similar. No, like they had the same habits. They went through like the same. It was weird. It didn't make any sense, and I was like, but why though? Like, if they're meant to be real people, why are we doing this? If it was like a new take on it, and Sherlock didn't exist and we were just getting Charlotte, it would make sense for her to have those characteristics because in the world here, Charlotte is the only version of Sherlock. But in those books, Sherlock existed, like he was a person. So it doesn't make sense. And then Jamie Watson, he was a terrible human being. Like he was just he upset me. There was a moment where one of his classmates at this boarding school had asked him to go to this party, or like I think it was like a school dance or something, and he told her no, like I'm good, because he had this massive crush on Charlotte and he didn't really want to go with her. This random girl who asked, and at this party, the killer who we've been trying to, I don't know if there was a death. So the killer that they were hunting in that first book attacked the girl that had asked Jamie, and so she had like this large fake diamond stuffed down her throat, and Charlotte was trying to help the girl, and Jamie was just kind of there, and he was like holding the girl's mouth open so Charlotte could assist or whatever, like do what Charlotte does. And he was talking about how the girl probably thought about how he was going to touch her lips tonight, and now she was dying, and she probably didn't think it would be like this. And I'm like, sir, I really don't think that as this girl is out here dying, like literally unable to breathe, I don't think her thought process is about your fucking fingers all in her mouth. He was disgusting to me. I didn't like him at all. I did not find him endearing. And the entire book is told through his point of view. And I was just like, can you get hit by a car? Like literally anything. He was a revolting person the entire time. And I was over it. I didn't like it. It was just weird. I was also just not over the fact that like Charlotte was supposed to be like 15, 16. They weren't that old, like they weren't seniors, and she had already gone to like rehab, and she had like sort of dealt with this random sexual assault that we weren't really going to delve into. And she had like this older boyfriend who was like in his 20s, who was I think a Moriarty. It was weird. And I was just looking at it, reading this book, like why? Like why are we doing any of these things? And so I'm very nervous to read another Brittany Cavallaro book after that, but I really enjoyed Hello Girls, so I'm kind of looking forward to Muse, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully, I enjoy it, and if I don't like Muse, then I won't read another Brittany Cavallaro book because I will know at that point that she's just not for me, and that's fine because she's already written. Like what is that? Like 5 books just in that one series and Hello Girls. So she don't need my support. She's doing just fine. She'll be good. She'll be fine with or without me, and she can just take solace in the fact that I'm not the person acquiring those titles. And again, that is fine. As far as I'm concerned. I do wish more people talked about that weirdness that was going on in the study in Charlotte, but who am I? I wish people talked about the weirdness in a lot of the books that they be reading, but that might be an unrealistic expectation. A study in Charlotte has like a 3.78, my bad, average on Goodreads. So, I mean, I guess most of my friends here, I've only seen, the highest I've seen so far is 4 stars. I have one friend who gave it two friends who gave it 2 stars. So, oh yes, that's another okay, that's the part that really killed me. So the person who was murdered in the study in Charlotte had like sexually assaulted one of their classmates or something. And the entire book, not the entire book, there were several moments where Jamie was like, well, he could have been a good person, like he didn't need to die. And I was like, sir, Mr. Jamie, Mr. Jamie, he was a rapist. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna put on, some vigilante gear and start hunting people down. But that, okay, Jamie. And so that just, when I picked it up, I'd only heard good things. I heard people really liked it, and so I was looking for it, but was not for me. Was not for me at all. So, but again, Muse is a totally new time where I think it's like, let me see here. Let me read the actual synopsis. Be a good booktuber. Is it not? Oh, here it is. And I think it's just a duology. It is pitched as American Royals meets The Winner's Curse, and is set in 1893, and war is brewing in the first American kingdom. I don't know if I like how it's called the First American Kingdom, but we'll go with it. Claire Emerson has a bigger problem. While her father prepares to reveal the mighty weapon he's created to showcase the might of their province, St. Cloud, in the World's Fair, Claire is crafting a plan to escape. Sounds interesting. I'll be here for it. Aside from the name that is called like the First American Kingdom, because that sounds like some indigenous erasure to me. But look, I mean, I like to give things that sound interesting a chance. And I think that's where I think that's where some people who don't like my content get annoyed. Although I don't really get a lot of hate comments. I just like, I feel like there's a sense of like, oh well, you knew you weren't going to like it, so like why did you pick it up? But I mean, I'm always open to being proven wrong. It rarely happens. I'm open to this being something good. I just want to be entertained. And so I think that if I was reading the same thing over and over again, and I do read a lot of the same thing, I definitely do know what I like when I'm reading a synopsis. I'm like, oh, I like that element. But if I was literally just reading in the same genre all year long, I know that I would not have a good time. And so I maybe it's eclectic a little bit, but I do think that a lot of it is the same. I just it's maybe like I don't know. That didn't make any sense. A lot of it is the same, but it's eclectic. Okay, sir. Okay. So, like, I don't, because a lot of the books you discuss, people be talking about. Yeah, I mean, as much as this is a hobby, I definitely, I do try to have a balance. Like when I'm at a bookstore, I'm I am definitely a cover buyer. So if like the spine is pretty or the front of the book is eye-catching, I will grab it as the publisher wanted me to. But so like I do think that I pick up books that my corner, like people who watch me, and I do think there's some overlap between like people who watch me and some other people who discuss young adult in general. Like I don't really think that, because I watch a bunch of other booktubers who are, let me not lie, because I haven't been watching booktube in a couple months, but I'm subscribed to like some adult channels. So when I do watch booktube, I mean, you pick up books others don't. Yeah, so like I'll pick up things from like the adult channels that I watch, or like I'll have like those recommendations in the back of my mind when I'm at a bookstore. But if it's like a pretty spine or a pretty cover, I'm a sucker for it. But I also do try to balance it out with things that I know are popular. Like I'm not gonna ever lie to the people and say that I don't read things for clicks, because I definitely do. Like, as much as it's a hobby, I do actually like engaging with people. And while I think there is some wisdom in the fact, like if I read like Vagabonds, I haven't heard anybody that I personally watch talk about Vagabonds. So if I read it and I put up a review video, that is going to get less attention than when I read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. If I were going to do a standalone review of a Deadly Education, that would get more clicks than when I read Vagabonds. No, does that mean I'm never going to review a book that isn't hyped? No, because I do have people. I'm embarrassed sometimes when I be logging in to respond to comments and I see the thumbnail of the video that they're responding to, and it's like my old aesthetic, and it's like, oh God, you watched that? You wanted to see me talk about that book? But also I'm like, I'm kind of excited when I see someone is responding to like a video that I posted 5 years ago about a book that like I don't see anyone talk about, because that's nice. Now, those videos, they do better sometimes because again, they've had 5 years to be on the platform to like be recommended to people, but they also don't do as well as when I read Crescent City. I read Crescent City and it didn't perform as well as like other people's review of Crescent City, but it outperformed a lot of my other review videos on the channel. So like, okay. I mean, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. Like when I read Cape May, I definitely had every intention of reading Cape May and coming to BookTube, but I didn't think that it was really that drag worthy. Like, was it the best book I've ever read? No, but I've also read books in that same genre. Like Chad Coldkin was doing what that man was doing in Cape May for like 5 years ago, and I already have those videos on my channel. So I don't need to do it again. Like I don't, if I'm not enjoying the process, you just won't see the video. Like that's that's really how it is. Um so and you know, what was his name? Chip Cheek might have gotten like $1 million to write Cape May, but Chad Coldkin wrote one of the worst books that I think The Average American Male is like one of the worst books I've ever read. Like it's not objectively terrible, but it's not like anything I would ever recommend, especially from the things that he's actually written. But he went on to like produce a whole television show. I mean, that show got canceled, but he definitely had a television show. He had like a web series. He had, what is that? After that, he wrote The Average American Marriage, Women and Children, Men, Women, and Children got a whole movie deal. Like that was a whole movie. Chad Coldkin was a writer on, what was the name of that? It was with Kate Walsh. It was her judge show. 1 second while I find the name, because I didn't watch it. But he wrote for Bad Judge from 2014 to 2015. Chad Coltkin. I think he produced that. I think he was an executive producer. Yeah, he created it. So he created Bad Judge after his All-American Male, which I think is, again, one of the, it's not top 10 books I've ever read. It's not top 10 worst either, but it's pretty meh. He had the whole web series, I think that was based on The Average American Male. He got to write for Bad Judge. I mean, Bad Judge only lasted one season, but he got paid for that. Like, it wasn't free labor. Men, Women, and Children, that was a movie. I think it had like Adam Sandler, a bunch of people were in Men, Women, and Children, and that was probably his like worst book. It was his best book in terms of like there was still overt sexism and misogyny in Men, Women, and Children, but it was more nuanced than his other work. It was clear author growth there, but it was still weird as fuck. So like, I don't know. It should cheek. He ain't doing nothing I ain't seen before, so it didn't feel necessary for me to come on here and talk about it in a video. That just seemed like a waste of everybody's time, and I'm definitely not gonna waste my time. So if I'm not gonna waste my time, I'm not gonna waste anybody else's time. At least I hope I'm not. When I did put out that hour-long docile discussion, I was worried. I was like, I don't know if anybody wants to sit here for an hour and listen to me talk about this book. But I was pleasantly surprised and happy when people were interested in what I had to say about docile for an hour. So I love that for me. I'm still, actually, please don't read that book. If you do have to read docile, please get it from a library. It makes me, and then after you're from the library, if you really love it, far be it from me to be like, don't buy it. But that book was god awful. Like, I still understand what that book offered people. Is this archived? Interesting. Okay. But I was talking about docile on one of my other streams. I talked about how I had requested K.M. Sparrow's follow-up novel, First Become Ashes, on NetGalley. And I think after I requested it, there was like it was like a smaller blow-up deal on Twitter where people were complaining about how this book was being marketed in the same way. I heard an older woman say it's amazing. It's amazing that the book is published. Like, what is amazing? Let me go to, maybe that's a video I'll make, reading 5-star reviews of docile. I don't think anyone wants to watch that video, but maybe that's what I'll add to the list, because I am confusion. Like, because I think the part that bothers me the most is that, like, the world just doesn't make sense. It literally makes no sense. That's the part that bothers me. But back to First Become Ashes, there was like a minor blow up on Twitter about how it was being marketed the same way that they had marketed docile, and it was kind of continuing to be odd to continually market books that feature rape with such like lighthearted imagery. And now the book has been pulled from NetGalley and it has been archived. But my request is still just sitting there, not denied or anything. It's still pending. It's the same writer. That's their next book. Yeah. I thought they were writing, I think they're also writing a vampire story, or like, no, so they wrote a vampire short story, and then Docile was their first full-length novel. Then First Become Ashes is the follow-up, but they are also working on like a full-length vampire novel, I believe, that's related to the short story, but you don't have to read. I don't know. I try not to keep up with Cam's Bear because it's not good for me, but I was interested, like genuinely interested in giving the second book a chance. But when I saw that it got pulled from NetGalley, I decided I did not need to email Tor and ask about it. But also Tor just don't be responding to emails, so I kind of just I don't know. It's the same way like Simon and like Simon Team just don't be responding to email, and I'm like, okay, thanks. I appreciate it. Maybe that's not nice of me. I mean, I am like a lot of publishers just like don't respond to emails. So like I don't think it's personal. Like when you email asking for arcs, they just like don't respond. But I kind of think they should say something, but I also understand that like they just get a lot of emails, but it just be annoying. I'm just annoyed. You know, I know it's like not. I know it's not a personal thing. It's just I would much rather just get like an auto rejection. It doesn't have to be personalized, but I do understand that they get a lot of emails. So I try to remember that when I'm annoyed that they haven't responded. But it doesn't change it. It doesn't change the fact that I am annoyed. And probably will continue to be annoyed because it's irrational. But we're gonna go with it. It's my coping mechanism. I think I'm gonna go for like another 3-ish minutes and end this at it's 12:54. Okay, so we are behind my okay. Let's just end this at a clock then, and not at some random time, so I can let you finish out your. It's evening time there right now, isn't it? Because aren't you off in Europe? I mean, I try to be understanding in my. It just doesn't. No, we don't have. What was it? I try to see their side, but I'm still gonna be annoyed. Like I understand. It's the morning. Okay. Is it like 2 o'clock in the morning? Like or okay. Okay, evening. It's like AM. But what was I doing? But I'm still just gonna I'll be okay. That's not too late. 19:55. It's a pretty decent hour to still be awake. But yeah, I'll still be annoyed about it. Like I understand that Simon Team gets a lot of emails, but I would appreciate a response. I also feel like I should be following. Sometimes when I get annoyed about things, I feel like I need to follow more people. But I also just want to say that when they were sending out those, do I have any interest in reading Cassandra Clare's latest release with Wesley Chu? Not really, because where it's set in the Shadowhunter universe, I think is a very. I understand why that spot was chosen, but those characters annoy me, and so I was kind of annoyed that I kept seeing a bunch of not queer men unboxing this box. I'm like, did you send that to any queer men? Like, did they get it? Like, are they on your list? Do you talk with her? I want to be done with Cassandra Clare's book so bad, but at this point, I'm so far in. I just don't even know if I can actually get like if I can stop. Like I don't actually know if that's possible, but maybe it is because I haven't finished Chain of Gold. Another spoiler for that September TBR is that I was going to try and participate in Becca's Bookopoly-a-thon, and I got a chance card for my first role. Excuse me. So I had to put together a list of books that I kind of wanted to read and kind of didn't want to read. And of course, the universe gave me Chain of Gold. And that book is really pretty. Maybe it's like top 30 books that I own, like in terms of how pretty they are. But I have like no desire to read that book. So that was all like low-key a waste of shipping, like low-key a waste of my money. There's no plot, the characters are boring, and literally there's no way, like I don't see how she could top the Mortal Instruments. I know people really like talking down on the Mortal Instruments. It'd be like their favorite to make fun of, but it's so good, and everything after that has been a rehash. Like, you can't tell me that The Dark Artifices was a rehash of their Mortal Instruments, down to the cohort being the new circle. Like, sorry, we already been down this road, and the cohort was less effectual. I just don't understand. I don't understand the Dark Artifices. I don't get the appeal. Like, all of those characters we've already seen. I didn't like. I mean, I already have whole videos on this, but it bothered me that Cassandra Clare, if you believe that she has always had this idea of writing 5 series in this world and ending it, then that means that she really, like, she sat down and wrote the queer relationships or the queer code of relationships in the Infernal Devices, which I personally think makes much more sense than any of the heterosexual couples that people want to ship there, but go for it, I guess. So she wrote that. She wrote Alec longing to be with Jace, and knew that she wanted to sit here and have this whole series talking about the Parabatai bond. That, it ruined it for me. I'm sorry. Like, the central conceit of that series being about the Parabatai bond, and then she went out of her way to I don't believe it. I truly don't believe it. I also don't believe it because she's gone on record saying I know that she went on record talking about how she thought she was going to be done after the Mortal Instruments, and that getting to continue on in that world was such a blessing or whatever. But girl, she needed to go. So, but with that, it is o'clock. So I'm going to go. I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for coming to hang out. I will get that poll up of what Netflix movie to watch the next time that we do this. So I'm gonna go. That's all I gotta say. Bye. I'll do something like that and end the stream. I am sure.